My name is Lauren Mitchell, and I'm 27 years old. The day my boyfriend told the entire internet he was single until someone proves they deserve me, while I was still unpacking groceries in our shared kitchen, something small and worn out inside me set my phone down, took off her apron, and quietly walked out of the version of me that still thought love meant giving endless second chances. It started on my lunch break. I was at my desk, half-finished salad on one side, spreadsheet on the other, brain running on caffeine and deadlines, when I opened Instagram to escape for 30 seconds. There it was, one of those aesthetic quote posts. Beige background, curly script, his oat milk latte in the corner like product placement. The caption, in bold black letters, "Single until someone proves they deserve me. Know your worth, kings." I stared at the username twice to make sure it was really him. At Brandon Lee.fit. My boyfriend, Brandon, 26. We'd been together 3 years, living together for 1. My toothbrush in his bathroom, his shoes by my front door, our names side by side on the lease. And according to Instagram, he was single. I read it once, twice, 10 times. Comments were already rolling in. Yes, king. Period. Never settle. Love this energy, bro. My thumb hovered over the screen. For a second, I waited for some kind of explanation to appear. A joke, an inside reference, a post in Close Friends explaining he'd been hacked. Nothing. Just my boyfriend telling the world he wasn't in a relationship. My heart didn't drop. It didn't explode. It just cooled, like someone had opened a window in winter and all the warmth rushed out. Then, very calmly, I typed a comment. Good luck with that. I hit send. For about 30 seconds, I just watched the screen. My reflection in the glass looked strangely calm. Then I flipped to Facebook, changed my relationship status to happily single, and tagged him. Made sure the privacy was set to public. By the time I went back to Instagram, his quote post had disappeared. It hadn't even been up an hour. My phone started buzzing on my desk like it was trying to burrow through. Texts, DMs, a call from him. 2, 5, 12. I flipped it face down and finished my lunch. Then I finished my shift. If he wanted to announce to the world he was single, fine. I could agree with him. When I finally drove home, the late afternoon light was honey gold across the parking lot. I walked up the stairs to our apartment, technically my apartment. I'd been renting it 2 years before he moved in to help with bills, and unlocked the door. Brandon was on the couch, arms crossed, jaw tight, looking like I'd set fire to his childhood home. "What the hell was that?" he demanded before I'd even set my bag down. I dropped my keys in the bowl by the door. "Which part? You telling the internet you're single, or me agreeing with you?" His nostrils flared. "It was just a quote, Lauren. Everyone posts stuff like that. Everyone in a relationship posts that they're single? You're being so dramatic." He ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair, pacing in front of the coffee table. "It didn't mean anything." I stepped out of my shoes. My voice came out very steady. "Cool." Then neither did my response. For a moment, you could hear the refrigerator humming, the faint traffic outside, the notification ping from his phone as someone else reacted to my status. He grabbed his phone, checked it, and his cheeks flushed. "You humiliated me," he snapped. "Tagging me like that? Making it public?" "You humiliated yourself," I said. "I just hit like on the truth you already posted." His jaw worked. Then he went for the classic exit line. "You know what? I'm going to stay at Kendall's tonight. Maybe you'll calm down and realize how stupid you're being." Kendall, his ride-or-die friend I'd met maybe 4 times, who laughed extra loud at his jokes and always seemed a little too invested in our relationship drama for someone not living in our home. I shrugged. "Take your time." He grabbed a duffel bag from the closet, stuffed clothes into it with theatrical zippers and sighs, like he was waiting for me to beg him to stay. I didn't. The door slammed so hard the picture frames rattled. I ordered Thai, put on a show, and ate on the couch he claimed he owned half of because he'd paid for 2 throw pillows once. My phone lit up all evening. Missed calls, voicemails, paragraph texts from unknown numbers. I let them pile up like junk mail. When I finally crawled into bed alone, I checked Instagram one last time. His profile picture was still us at my cousin's wedding, his hand on my waist. He hadn't gotten around to erasing that yet. Somehow, that was the part that stung. The fake us left up for display while he practiced being single in the captions. I turned my phone off and went to sleep. Update 1 should have been the part where things calmed down. Instead, the drama leveled up. The next afternoon, I was at work when a number I didn't recognize popped up on my screen. I almost ignored it. Then the name flashed in the preview. Kendall. I didn't answer. A few seconds later, a long text arrived. And by long, I mean dissertation. Lauren, this is Kendall. I'm reaching out on Brandon's behalf because he is really hurt and humiliated by what you did. Posting private relationship issues on social media is incredibly immature. You violated his trust by making him look crazy in front of everyone. Real women don't act petty like that. You need to take responsibility, delete your post, and apologize. I stared at the message for a full minute. Then I typed back, real boyfriends don't pretend to be single online. I hit send. Within seconds, the little typing dots appeared, then vanished. Then I got the notification. Kendall has blocked you. I actually laughed. In the middle of the office, my coworker in the next cubicle looked over. I just shook my head and went back to my spreadsheet. 5 minutes later, my phone started ringing. This time, the name made my stomach tighten. Helen, Brandon's mom. I'd always called her Mrs. Lee to her face, but my phone had her under Helen because she'd insisted we're family now. I took a breath and answered. Hello? Lauren, sweetheart, she launched straight in, voice syrupy and trembling. What on earth is going on? Brandon is devastated. I saw your Facebook status. You two are not single. I leaned back in my chair. He posted that he was, Helen. I just confirmed it. She gasped, like I'd slapped her. You know how boys are on social media. It's all for fun. He didn't mean it. Is cheating for fun too, or just advertising for it? I asked, before I could soften it. What? He would never. Her voice sharpened, defensive. Brandon is a good man. I didn't say he cheated, I replied. But posting that you're single when you're not is basically an open call, isn't it? For anyone new who's proving they deserve you. Silence hummed on the line. I could picture her sitting at her immaculate kitchen table, clutching a mug, refusing to imagine her son as anything but the golden boy. Lauren, she said finally, you need to apologize. He is very upset. This could affect his job, his reputation. He knows where I live, I said. If he wants to talk like an adult, he can come here without a cheering section. Her tone turned icy. Don't be prideful. Relationships require grace. Grace goes both ways, I said quietly. Have a good day, Helen. I hung up. My hands were shaking a little, not from fear. From anger, I was trying very hard to keep inside my ribcage so it didn't torch everything around me. That's when my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a name that usually made me smile. Garrett, my friend who also happened to work at the same marketing firm as Brandon. Yo, thought you should know. Brandon's been having lunch with that new account manager, Jenna, every day this week. They look friendly. I stared at the text until the words blurred. Jenna. The name clicked. Brandon had mentioned her once, offhand. This new account manager, Jenna? She gives me weird vibes, he'd said, laughing. She's always like, we should grab lunch and brainstorm. Apparently, the vibes weren't that weird. I swallowed and typed back. Thanks for the heads up. Then, because the part of me that had stopped making excuses needed facts, I opened Instagram again. We still followed each other. He hadn't scrubbed me yet, just hidden the proof. I went to his profile, then scrolled his followers until I found @jenna.creative. Her grid was curated and pretty. Flat lays, outfit pics, coffee shop shots. I started scrolling. There it was, her username on nearly every one of Brandon's posts from the last few months. Fire emojis on his gym selfies, king energy under his mirror shots, heart eyes on the one of us at my cousin's wedding. Even the one where he posted, grateful for my woman holding it down at home. She'd commented, she's lucky. My chest ached in a dull, heavy way, not like a stab, more like a bruise someone kept pressing on. I took screenshots. Not to blast online, not yet, just receipts. Proof for myself that I wasn't crazy or dramatic for seeing what was right in front of me. That night, as I was reheating leftovers, my phone buzzed. Brandon, are you ready to talk like adults? I wiped my hands on a towel, stared at the screen, and felt that quiet, cold part of me sit up straighter. I typed, sure, should I invite Jenna too, or is this just between us? The 3 dots appeared, stayed, vanished. He read the message. No response. I put my phone down, turned off the stove, and realized the version of me waiting for him to act right had finally clocked out for good. The adult conversation Brandon promised didn't happen that night, or the next. Instead, 2 days later, it arrived at my front door in the form of a full delegation. It was a Sunday. I'd just finished vacuuming and was halfway through folding laundry when someone pounded on the door like the building was on fire. I checked the peephole. Brandon. And behind him, like the badly cast chorus, stood Kendall, his sister Meredith, and Helen, all in a line, arms crossed, faces arranged into a mixture of outrage and wounded dignity. Of course. I opened the door halfway and leaned against the frame. Can I help you? Helen went first. Lauren, this has gone far enough. Her voice was already trembling, as if she'd climbed 3 flights of stairs fueled by righteous anger. Brandon made a tiny mistake, and you are blowing it completely out of proportion. Posting that you're single while living with your girlfriend is a tiny mistake? I asked. Kendall jumped in, eyes flashing. You put him on blast in front of everyone. That's emotional abuse. You made him look like some kind of villain. Brandon stayed quiet, jaw clenched, hands stuffed in his hoodie pockets, like he was the misunderstood protagonist of a very sad indie film. Funny, I said. I thought the villain role went to the person pretending not to be in a relationship. Meredith rolled her eyes. You're focusing on the wrong thing. He loves you, Lauren. He's just expressive online. I almost laughed. Is that what we're calling it? Brandon finally spoke. Can we not do this in the hallway? He muttered. Let us in so we can talk like adults. I considered it. 4 people against 1. The old version of me would have stepped back, apologized for the mess, offered coffee. This new, quietly freezing version of me opened the door just wide enough for him. They can wait out here, I said. You're on the lease. They're not. Helen looked scandalized. Lauren, you all came to talk about our relationship, right? I tilted my head. Seems weird to involve an audience. Brandon hesitated for a second, then stepped inside. I closed the door behind him, leaving his entourage in the hall. He spun around. What is wrong with you? Right now, I said. Mostly a low tolerance for group performances. He threw his hands up. You turned everyone against me. My phone hasn't stopped blowing up. People from college are messaging me like, bro, what happened? My boss saw it, Lauren. Your boss saw you announce you were single, I corrected. Then saw your girlfriend agree. That's consistent branding, if anything. He glared at me. It was just a quote. I didn't think you'd overreact like this. Brandon, I said, and for the first time I felt tired more than angry. You wrote that you were single, while living with me, while eating dinner I cooked, while using my Netflix account to fall asleep. That's not a quote. That's a statement. He shifted his weight, eyes darting away. It was about self-worth, protecting my energy. I almost choked. Did Jenna help you with the caption, or did you come up with that all by yourself? His head snapped back. What does Jenna have to do with this? You tell me, I replied. Garrett says you two have been having lunch every day. She's liked every photo you've posted for months, including the one of us at my cousin's wedding. That's just how she is, he snapped. She's friendly, networking. Oh, I nodded slowly. So you're single until someone proves they deserve you, and you're eating lunch every day with a friendly coworker who thinks I'm lucky to have you. But I'm the one overreacting. His mouth opened, closed. Then he went for the truth, coded in justification. You ruined everything. You know that? I blinked. Everything what? Jenna won't even talk to me now, he muttered. Because of your little comment. She thinks I'm drama. Ah, there it was. So, I said, voice soft, you admit there was something with Jenna. No, he snapped. We were just friends. But she was interested, and now she thinks I'm toxic because you dragged our relationship online. I stared at him. She was interested while we were together. And this upsets you because you could have had something better, but I sabotaged it? He flinched. For once, the mask slipped. I wasn't going to do anything, he said quickly. I just like the attention. Is that really so wrong? Yes, I said. Next question. He shook his head, incredulous. You're unbelievable. Helen's right. You're throwing away something good over some posts. Something good doesn't need a backup singer, I replied, and it definitely doesn't need a side audience. A sharp knock sounded on the door. Helen's voice floated through, strained and urgent. Lauren, sweetheart, we're not staying all day. Open up so we can sort this out. Brandon glanced at the door, then back at me. Look, I'm here because we need to fix this. And because, he exhaled, shifting gears, Jenna's made things awkward at work. Everyone heard about the Instagram thing. I need stability right now. There it was again. Not I love you, not I'm sorry, not I was wrong. I need stability. Right, I said slowly. You need a place to land now that your upgrade didn't ship. That's not what I said, he snapped. Helen knocked louder. Brandon, we need to get your things if she's going to be unreasonable. I raised a brow. Get your things, I repeated. Is that what this little field trip is actually about? He squared his shoulders. I'm staying at Kendall's for a bit, until things cool down. We came to get my stuff, and talk about you taking down that post. I gave a small, humorless smile. You don't live here anymore, Brandon. His eyes widened. What? You took your bag and left. Told me you were staying at Kendall's. You told half the internet you were single. I gestured around. This is my apartment. It was before you. It will be after you. You can pack what's yours. Then you can go. His face flushed dark. So you're just going to throw me out? After 3 years? I met his eyes. I'm not throwing anyone out. You walked out, remember? Maybe you'll calm down and realize how stupid you're being. His jaw clenched. For a moment, he looked like he might actually apologize. Instead, he said, Fine, but I'm taking everything I bought for this place. Go ahead, I said. I opened the door. The 3 women outside looked like they'd been stacked there by a stage manager. Helen swept in first, perfume sharp and familiar, followed by Meredith's tight glare and Kendall's smirk. They fanned out like a moving storm cloud. Brandon started pointing. The coffee maker, he said. I bought that. Fair. He had. Sure, I said. Take it. He unplugged it with triumphant energy. Kendall swooped in to grab mugs she insisted were part of the set. Meredith began removing decor from the shelves like we were on a timed game show. Then it got weird. The shower curtain, Brandon announced from the bathroom. I paid for that. Okay, I said, leaning against the wall. I have no deep emotional attachment to plastic. He yanked it down, rings clattering into the tub. I watched, oddly detached, as they moved through the apartment like a petty tornado. Helen took the extra set of towels she'd bought us last Christmas. Meredith unscrewed the cheap lamp she'd found at a thrift store. Kendall, for reasons known only to her, started collecting every AA battery from the remotes. That seems necessary, I noted. Maybe now you'll learn not to be so childish, she snapped. Then Brandon walked into the living room and put his hand on my PlayStation. Absolutely not, I said. I contributed, he argued. I bought games. You bought one game, FIFA 22. I crossed my arms. You can take the disc. The console stays. I paid for it. He scoffed. I bought groceries that you ate. That money could have gone to the PlayStation. So technically, I bought it. Even Helen winced at that one. Do you hear yourself? I asked quietly. This is what I'm talking about, Kendall said. You're so controlling. I almost felt sorry for them. Almost. They ended up stuffing his clothes, random kitchen items, and a shower curtain into black garbage bags because no one had thought to bring boxes. As they were leaving, wrestling the bags into the hallway, Brandon turned back, eyes blazing. You're going to regret this, he spat. No one else is going to put up with your boring ass. I held his gaze, the old ache replaced with something sharper, cleaner. I'll take my chances, I said. He hesitated like he was waiting for the old Lauren to reappear, the one who'd chase him down the hall and apologize for making him feel bad. She didn't. The door closed behind them with a soft, final click. In the silence that followed, I looked around at the gaps on the shelves, the naked shower rod, the empty space where the coffee maker had been. The apartment felt lighter. Not because of what was gone, because of who had just left. 3 days of peace. That's all I got before the next storm. It was Wednesday evening, and I'd finally started sleeping through the night again. I was curled up on the couch with a blanket, half watching a baking show when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Garrett. You might want to check Instagram stories. Again. I sighed. My heart didn't even race this time. Just mild irritation. Like checking the weather before deciding whether to take an umbrella. I opened the app. Brandon had been busy. A carousel of vague, motivational slides filled my screen. White text on black backgrounds, like he was launching a TED Talk for the emotionally immature. Sometimes the trash takes itself out, upgrading in all areas of life, when she can't handle your glow-up. And the final slide stopped me cold. A selfie of Brandon and Jenna, clinking glasses at a fancy cocktail bar, both smirking. The caption, New beginnings, better energy. He'd tagged the location. I laughed, quietly, bitterly, because of course he had. But here's the thing, that bar he tagged, it wasn't random. It was the Rookery, where my cousin Tyler worked as a bartender. I didn't even have to reach out first. At 10:17 p.m., Tyler texted me, Your ex is here, with some girl. She keeps talking about you. It's weird. Talking about me how? I replied. Like, comparing. A lot. Lauren never took me to places like this. Lauren was threatened by successful people. Bro looked so uncomfortable. I sat there, reading the messages like they were notes from a play I'd already seen the ending of. Apparently, the new beginning wasn't going smoothly. According to Tyler, they'd been at the bar for about an hour. Brandon was on his second cocktail. Jenna was politely smiling, but her eyes kept flicking toward the exit. "He's ranting about how controlling you were," Tyler added. "He's showing her old texts, like proof or something." He literally said, "See? This is what I dealt with." I rubbed my temples. Those proof texts, I knew exactly which ones they were. The ones where I'd asked him to please help with rent, since he hadn't paid his half in 6 weeks because money's tight. He turned my attempt at fairness into a case study in oppression. Tyler's final text sealed it. "She left early. He paid for his drinks only. She didn't even look back." Then, he tried flirting with me on the way out, asking for a free drink. I told him I'm your cousin. "What did he say?" I asked. He turned red and left. I set my phone down and actually smiled for the first time in weeks. The universe was doing my cleanup for me. But of course, it couldn't just stop there. The next morning, my work email pinged with a new LinkedIn message from Brandon Lee. I almost laughed out loud in the office. LinkedIn, the professional network, where people go to humble brag about promotions and leadership seminars, not failed relationships. I opened it. "Hey, Lauren, I wanted to apologize. I didn't know you were still telling people we were together when you posted about being single. Jenna told me you'd moved on months ago. Anyway, I'm not that guy. Thought you should know she's been telling people at work that you were emotionally manipulative. Just wanted to clear the air. Good luck. Brandon." I read it twice, not because I didn't understand it, but because the audacity deserved a slow clap. He had rewritten history so thoroughly that he believed it. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Instead, I took a screenshot. And that night, just once, I allowed myself one tiny, perfectly petty move. I posted a gym selfie, my first post in months, with the caption, "Single life hitting different. Thanks for the motivation, at Brandon Lee." He blocked me within the hour, but not before Meredith, his sister, slid into my DMs. "That was unnecessary," she wrote. "He's going through a lot." I typed back. "So was pretending to be single while living with me." "You don't understand," she insisted. "He's just lost." "Consequences aren't something you go through," I replied. "They're something you earn." No response. A week passed. I thought maybe, finally, it was over. Then, one Friday evening, I came home to find 2 suitcases by my door, and Brandon sitting cross-legged beside them, hoodie pulled over his head, face streaked like he'd rehearsed the role of broken man in need of redemption. He looked up as I approached. "Lauren." My stomach sank. I glanced toward the hallway security camera blinking red. "You've been here long?" "Couple hours," his voice cracked. "I didn't know where else to go." "That's because you burned all your bridges," I said, unlocking the door but not inviting him in. He stood, trying to look dignified, despite the tear tracks. "Can we talk inside?" "We can talk right here." He shifted, clearly aware of the camera. "Please, I messed up, okay? Jenna ghosted me. My mom's been on my case. I can't stay at Kendall's anymore." "Why not?" I asked. He looked down. "Her roommate came back from Europe early. She said I couldn't crash anymore." "Tragic," I said dryly. He took a step closer. "Lauren, I'm serious. I've been sleeping on couches. I can't think straight. Everyone's turned on me, even at work." "I'm not your rescue plan," I interrupted. "You made your choices." He blinked. "I just thought maybe we could try again." "You miss me," I said quietly. He hesitated. "I miss us." "No," I corrected. "You miss free rent, home-cooked meals, and someone who believed your nonsense." His face twisted. "You owe me," he snapped suddenly. "I wasted 3 years on you. I made this place a home." I folded my arms. "You threw yourself away the moment you posted you were single, Brandon. Don't stand here asking for a refund." His voice rose. "You can't just throw me away like trash." Before I could reply, my neighbor Carl, retired, nosy, and an absolute legend, stuck his head out of his apartment. "Everything okay, Lauren?" "Yeah," I said evenly, just explaining to my ex why he can't move back in. Carl nodded solemnly. "Oh, the one who cheated with that Jenna girl? My wife saw it all on Instagram." Brandon's face turned crimson. "I wasn't cheating." "Just advertising for replacements, huh?" Carl said. "Got it." Then he disappeared back inside like he'd dropped the mic. Brandon's hands clenched. "You'll regret this," he hissed. "I swear." The elevator dinged. 2 building security guards stepped out. One of them, a tall woman named Marie, nodded politely. "Ms. Mitchell, we got a call. This man said he lived here, but you confirmed he doesn't?" "That's right," I said. "He's just leaving." Brandon's head snapped up. "Wait, you don't understand." Marie raised a brow. "Sir, if you don't live here, you can't stay in the hallway." He froze. Then, with theatrical desperation, he blurted, "I'm not leaving. Lauren, please, I'm pregnant." The silence was so thick I could hear the hum of the elevator motor. Then I burst out laughing. "No, you're not," I said flatly. His face twisted. "How do you know?" "Because we haven't slept together in 2 months," I said. "You were always too tired, remember?" Even Marie smirked at that. He sputtered something unintelligible, then grabbed his bags and stormed toward the elevator. As the doors closed, he shouted, "You'll never find anyone like me!" I smiled. That's the point. An hour later, my phone rang again. Helen. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. "Lauren," she said, her voice a mixture of fury and desperation, "how dare you embarrass Brandon like that? He told me everything." "I'm sure he did," I said. "Did he also tell you he showed up uninvited, lied about living here, and claimed he was pregnant?" "He's desperate," she cried. "You've ruined his reputation. He needs stability." "Then he should have built it before setting fire to everything around him." She hesitated. "If you take him back," she said quietly, "I'll pay his portion of the rent for 3 months." For a full 5 seconds, I thought I'd misheard. "You're offering to pay me to date your son?" I said finally. Silence. "That's really sad, Helen," I said softly. "For both of you." I hung up. Then I sat back, stared at my ceiling, and let the silence settle. Somewhere between his fake sob story, the Hall of Fame lie about pregnancy, and his mother trying to bribe me, something clicked. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. It was liberation. By the next week, I thought it was finally done. I'd blocked his number, muted his name on social media, and reclaimed the silence of my apartment. No calls, no banging on my door, no self-pitying monologues about new energy. I could breathe again. Until a group chat appeared on my phone. 6 numbers. One labeled Helen, Mom, another Meredith, Sister, and the rest, names I vaguely recognized from parties or mutual friends who'd commented, "Cute couple," under our photos once upon a time. The chat name? Intervention for Lauren's commitment issues and emotional problems. I laughed out loud. Not a happy laugh, the kind that spills out when you realize your ex has officially lost his grip on reality. The first message came from Helen. "We all care about you, Lauren, but the way you treated Brandon isn't okay. You've caused him deep trauma, and it's time to take responsibility." Then Meredith. "He told us everything. The gaslighting, the control, the constant criticism. You emasculated him." Another number chimed in. "He said you humiliated him in public. That's emotional abuse." I scrolled, expressionless, until Brandon himself entered the stage. "I'm not doing this to attack you. I just want closure. You never gave me a chance to explain." I inhaled slowly, feeling that familiar chill of quiet power fill my lungs. Then I started dropping screenshots. One, after another, his single "until someone proves they deserve me" post. My simple "good luck with that" comment. Jenna's Instagram story with him tagged, "New beginnings, better energy." His LinkedIn apology, complete with denial and projection. And finally, the hallway footage of him screaming about being pregnant. When I was done, I sent one final message. "Closure granted. You're welcome." Then I left the group. An hour later, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I almost ignored it until the voice that answered wasn't Helen's. It was Roger, Brandon's dad. "Lauren," he said, sighing heavily, "I'm calling because I just saw that group chat mess. I had no idea what Helen and Brandon were planning." "Then we're on the same page," I said coolly. He hesitated. "I'm sorry, truly. Helen, she's been like this for years. Coddling him, defending him. It's why I work overtime. Keeps me out of the house." I didn't know what to say. It wasn't an apology I'd expected, but somehow it confirmed everything I'd felt about that family. The enabling, the denial, the delusion of innocence. "Thank you," I said quietly, "for saying that." He sighed again. "He'll have to learn the hard way. Good luck, Lauren. You deserve better than that circus." Then he hung up. 2 days later, the circus tried one last encore. I was in the cereal aisle at Target when someone said my name softly. I turned. It was Kendall, alone. Hair messy, face pale, voice smaller than I'd ever heard it. "Hey," she said. "Don't worry, I'm not here to cause trouble." "That's a first," I said before I could stop myself. She winced. "Fair." Silence stretched between us. The hum of the refrigerators. A kid in another aisle asking for Lucky Charms. Finally, she said, "He's been staying with me again." I blinked. "You let him back?" "I didn't exactly have a choice," she muttered. "He showed up crying, said he was homeless, said you kicked him out for no reason. My roommate's losing her mind. He won't leave. He just sits around all day making TikToks about being emotionally abused." I stared. "He's what?" Kendall rubbed her temples. "It's bad. He has a whole series now. dating after narcissistic partners. It's embarrassing. I almost laughed, but she looked genuinely miserable. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because, she said, voice shaking, I owe you an apology. I said nothing. She kept going. He's been doing this for years, Lauren. Every girlfriend. Same story. He posts attention bait, plays victim, blames them for everything. I enabled it because he's my friend, but I can't anymore. I studied her face, no arrogance now, no smirk, just exhaustion and regret. Okay, I said carefully, so why warn me? Because he's planning to show up at your job next week with his mom to expose you to your boss. Thought you should know. I blinked. Of course he was. When manipulation doesn't work, go public. That was always his pattern. I nodded slowly. Thanks for the heads up. Kendall turned to leave, then stopped. By the way, Jenna wasn't the first. I raised an eyebrow. Meaning? She hesitated. There were at least 3 others, while you two were together. He called them his backup plans. I didn't realize it until after you broke up. I felt nothing, no surprise, no anger. Just a dull confirmation of what my instincts had known all along. Take care of yourself, Kendall, I said quietly. And maybe your roommate, too. Monday morning, I acted first. I walked into HR, sat down with my manager, and calmly explained the situation. They listened. They took notes. They thanked me for being proactive. Then they called security to be ready, just in case. Sure enough, at 2:40 p.m., the receptionist called upstairs. Lauren, there's a man and a woman here asking to speak to your boss about your behavior. I smiled faintly. Please send security. By the time I reached the lobby, Brandon and Helen were already being escorted out. Helen was shouting about false accusations and emotional defamation. Brandon was holding his phone, probably live streaming the whole scene for his followers. I met his eyes as the guards guided them out through the glass doors. He looked startled, like he'd expected me to crumble. Instead, I lifted my coffee cup in a small, polite toast. He turned scarlet. Later that afternoon, HR handed me a copy of the official cease and desist letter they'd sent to both of them. Persistent harassment will not be tolerated, it read. Apparently, Brandon's healing TikToks included my photo without permission, and he'd been reported for defamation and unauthorized use of personal images. By the end of the week, his account was gone. Suspended. Poof. A month later, Garrett texted me again. Update on your favorite soap opera. Brandon got fired. Missed too many days making content. Helen and Roger are getting divorced. Kendall changed the locks. I stared at my phone. Then, for the first time in months, I laughed. Real laughter this time. The kind that leaves your stomach sore but your chest light. Garrett sent one last message. Guess sometimes karma doesn't just knock. It packs boxes. Life mercifully went on. I signed up for a rock climbing class, met new people, started sleeping better. One of the instructors, Theo, was kind in a quiet, steady way. The complete opposite of chaos disguised as confidence. When we matched on Hinge, his first message said, "Just so you know, my relationship status is accurate across all platforms." I laughed. Out loud this time. I think that's when I knew he was different. 2 months later, I got one final notification I didn't expect. Brandon's Instagram. A new post. A grainy selfie. Puffy eyes. Captioned, "Single by choice. Healing from trauma. Entering my glow-up era." Someone had commented underneath, "Weren't you just trying to move back in with Lauren?" The post was gone within minutes. I stared at my screen, smiled faintly, and whispered to no one in particular, "Sometimes the trash really does take itself out. And sometimes it tries to crawl back in through the window, claim it's pregnant, and start a TikTok career." I set my phone down, closed my eyes, and for the first time in a long, long while, I felt absolutely, blissfully single.